In Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final, Tampa Bay Lightning forward Ross Colton struck an official from behind in front of his bench. Colton is standing by the Lightning bench as the linesman is slowly backing toward him, and as the linesman nears, Colton braces for impact and slightly extends out into contact. In my opinion, Rule 40, physical abuse of officials, is one of the best rules in the entire rule book. The way it's laid out, the way it's worded, it covers everything clearly and explicitly. And it starts by a general overview of anyone who should be considered under this rule. A game misconduct shall be given to any player who deliberately applies physical force in any manner against an official, or in any manner attempts to injure an official, physically demean, deliberately apply physical force to an official solely for the purpose of getting free of such an official for an altercation. They should all receive game misconduct penalties. And then it goes on to break down the rule into 3 distinct categories of suspension length. Category 1 is any player who deliberately strikes an official and causes injury. That's it. Or who deliberately applies physical force in any manner against an official with intent to injure. Any player who does either of those things is automatically suspended for 20 games. It even goes on to define intent to injure very smartly as any physical force for which a player knew or should have known could reasonably be expected to cause injury. So now it doesn't have to say, look, buddy, we're inside your head. We know you meant to do it. And they can say, no, I didn't. What they're saying is, if you did something where it was reasonable to assume an injury would occur, that's the same thing as meaning to injure the official. So it doesn't actually have to accuse a person of being malicious. It's just saying, look, you should have known better. The second category is any player who deliberately applies physical force to an official in any manner, excluding category 1, to which physical force is applied without intent to injure. So if you apply any physical force with intent to injure, as defined in 40.1, you're getting a 20-game suspension. If you apply physical force in any manner at all, which doesn't appear to be intent to injure, you're still getting 10 games. It's automatic. And the third category is any player who, by his actions, physically demeans an official, physically threatens an official, throws a stick or any piece of equipment in the general direction of the official, shooting a puck in the general direction of an official, spitting at in the general direction of an official, or applying force solely for the purpose of getting away from this official to rejoin an altercation or during or following an altercation, you're going to get 3 games. So this rule is very, very clear. If you try and injure an official, you get 20 games. If you strike an official and claim you didn't mean to injure them, you're still getting 10 games. If you look at an official the wrong way, if you breathe on an official the wrong way, if you so much as pretend to threaten an official, you are getting a 3-game suspension. It's not a matter of if you're getting a suspension, it's just for how long based on what you did. They're very clearly saying hands off officials for any reason, and if you do make contact with an official, it better have been exceptionally unavoidable or ridiculously accidental, or you're getting suspended. I love this rule for that reason. And of course, precedent was set in 2016 when Dennis Wideman was given a 20-game suspension for this contact with the linesman. Obviously, this is different from the Colton situation in a few ways. First of all, Wideman was concussed during this incident, and the force is also higher and more forceful. And also, the linesman suffered a very serious injury as a result of this play. It's important to note that 20-game suspension was also later reduced by an independent arbitrator down to 10 games. So it went from an intent to injure to just a physical force that wasn't intent to injure. But it was still a 10-game suspension, and 10 games is still 10 games. Based on the spirit of this rule as it's written, and the precedent set with that 2016 case against Wideman, I don't see any reason why we wouldn't suspend Ross Colton for 10 games under Category 2. Any player who deliberately applies physical force to an official in any manner which physical force is applied without intent to injure. Colton had ample time to avoid this contact, and he applied physical force to the linesman's back, to an unsuspecting linesman. Therefore, Tough Call would suspend Ross Colton of the Tampa Bay Lightning 10 games for physical abuse of an official.